So in this video, I'm going to help you write a perfect CV. To get you to a point whereby you can write a perfect CV, you first need to know what a good CV is and what a bad CV is. So I'm going to define it to you right now. The number one golden rule is that a good CV gets you interviews. If you forget everything else, just remember that one thing. If you're applying somewhere and there's people that are viewing your CV, but they're not responding, they just keep ignoring your resume, there's something wrong with that resume. So first things first, a good resume or CV gets you interviews. Secondly, it's easy to read, which is extremely important because people are judging you based on the text that you put on a piece of paper or on a digital PDF. They're judging your worth on the text that you write. So it has to be easy to read. If it's too complicated to read, guess what? Your application is going to go into the dustbin. Another fundamental is that the file size has to be less than a megabyte. And I'm saying this because I've learned it myself through experience. Is that the vast majority of the times, wherever it is you're uploading your CV, which is going to be the majority of times, it's unlikely that in the modern day and age, as technology has advanced as to the point as it is now, that you're going to be applying physically. Most of the applications, 99%, they're going to be virtual. They're going to be PDF, right? So when you apply, many of these platforms that you're applying to or submitting your information to, you're submitting your CV, they have a maximum file size. And if your file size is too big, you can't take those opportunities, right? So the maximum it should be is 1 megabyte. Something that I've also learned is a misconception about what a good CV is the length of the CV. So what you'll see oftentimes is that some recruiters or quote unquote experts will say that it should be at most 2 pages long or 3 pages long. That's complete nonsense, right? Because if you're somebody who's truly experienced and you have a lot of valuable things that you've done, it may take longer than that to explain it and to convey your worth to the employer, right? So the length should only be limited by the valuable information that you have on the PDF. If you are somebody who's truly world class and you've built amazing things, put it down there. If it takes a while for the recruiter to go through it, then so be it. But the only limit to the length should be the quality of the work that you've done, the valuable things that you can articulate. And the fifth thing is that a good CV stands out. Now, when I used to customize my CVs, I learned this phenomena through what people who would read my CVs would tell me. They would tell me a number of times, oh wow, it's nice to have a freshly designed or uniquely designed CV because I designed it to be very beautiful, and it was, and it helped me stand out. I got that happen so many times that is when I learned that, oh wow, this is a significant strategic advantage because if everybody designs their CV in just black and white and you put a lot of effort in and make it to a world class type of level in terms of design and how it looks and how it portrays you, it sells you, then you are a standout amongst those. Even if there's 100 CVs, you're the only one who did that. So, lastly, a massive strategic advantage is if you design your CV beautifully. Now, let's talk about what a bad CV is. So, a bad resume or CV gets you rejected. Doesn't matter where you apply or who you apply to. When you apply with a bad CV, employers don't reach back out to you to conduct interviews. Employers do not wish to have you on their team. People ignore you when you apply to positions. And it's the exact opposite of what I said a good CV is. So my rule of thumb is if I'm applying to numerous places on a weekly basis, let's say I apply to 20 employers every single week, I should get at least one company reaching out to me by the end of that week. If you're not getting that, all you're getting is rejection letters, no interviews, they're just ignoring you, that's a bad CV. Another sign of a bad CV is that it doesn't get straight to the point. You have to understand that recruiters or the people who first read your CVs, they have a very limited attention span. They get hundreds of people applying. They only have so much time to go through a CV. You have to jump straight to the point. Hit them with things that get them to understand your value and worth. very quickly. Don't add fluff about your hobbies and all this other nonsense. Get straight to it. And then lastly, if it's poorly written, meaning it has lots of spelling mistakes and difficult to understand as to what it is that you did that is of value and why they should take you on as a member of the team, then naturally they're going to reject you. Now let's talk about the format of the CV. Notice on the screen now I have two sides. Each side has the same exact structure, where there's a header at the top, which is often optional, a summary of yourself, which acts as a cover letter, work experience underneath the summary of yourself, education, and then at the end, what is often put there as your accomplishments and achievements. Those can be optional. However, I would highly recommend you add them should you have them. Now, with respect to the summary of yourself, you have to ensure that you hit them, as I've said before, things that grab your attention, things that excite them, things that convey your value and worth, right? That's the point whereby you set the tone for the rest of your CV. You guide them to your level, your proficiency, the caliber of person you are, right? Then in your work experience, it's very formal. There's a certain structure that people are already accustomed to, right? It's which company you worked at, what was your role, how many years, describe what you did, right? So I'm going to repeat it one last time. Which company you work at, what was your role, how many years did you work there, and then describe what it is that you did within that role. It's a very standard structure that is used universally. Underneath that, you have education. Education, again, which school did you go to? What degree did you get? And that's it, really. You don't have to go into more detail other than that. Underneath that, you will often have awards and accomplishments. This is open ended. But whatever it is you put there, please make sure that is impressive. Don't say that you won a burger flipping competition. No, you have to put things there that are of substance, that convey value, that let the employer know that you are somebody who is to be respected and has accomplished great things in their life. Now, I want you to compare very closely the left hand side with the right hand side. Notice on the left hand side, it's plain black and white. Not much thought has gone into the design of it and the appeal, the visual appeal. But if you were to look at the right hand side, there's a bit more effort put into the design and the aesthetics of it. The one on the right hand side, I have trialed myself. Um, I have put in way more effort and thought into designing my CV and making it beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. And I've noticed that the response rates went up. It was the same exact information. However, how it was portrayed, how it was conveyed and sold, portrayed me in a better light. So that's something I want you to understand, is that the more effort that you put into your